Okay, so it's been about a month since the Barbie movie was released in theaters worldwide. And honestly, I'm pretty sure a lot of people did not expect this film to break this type of record. Um in just like a month. I mean, the movie has done over 1.2 billion in box office revenue. And a lot of people think that is just absolute madness, because the Mario movie came out back in April, and right now I think it's over 1.3 billion in terms of box office revenue. But it took a couple of months for Mario to um to draw in that type of revenue, and honestly, like with Barbie, I think for the most part, um, like Barbie just appeals more to a casual audience for the most part, even though, it's girly and it's designed to cater to, young girls, and it's more for children. Almost everyone knows who Barbie is, children, adults, teenagers. And not only that, it's like the movie for the most part has been like overhyped, we've got a lot of cool soundtracks, for the Barbie movie, from names like Dua Lipa to Billie Eilish, and the list goes on. And honestly, I didn't see the movie just yet, but I saw a couple of clips, and I think one of the things that people liked about the Barbie movie was that it was a live action movie that wasn't trying to be too realistic, even though the movie is about, like, it's about, dolls coming to life, and honestly, I think that all that is something that kind of contributed to the appeal of this movie for the most part. And honestly, some people feel that the success of this movie could eventually lead to like a video game later down the line. But if you look at like Barbie in general, I mean, there's been like so many Barbie video games that you can't even like name all of them. There've been Barbie video games like since like the early '90s. I think the very first one came out back in 1984 for Commodore or something like that that no one really remembers. But um, I think one of the first Barbie video games from the '90s was one on the original Game Boy, which is black and white, which probably a lot of people forgot about. But we've gotten at least 3 decades of like Barbie video games. I think the latest like main video game that wasn't on a mobile device came out back in 2015. But video games hasn't really been a big thing for Barbie at all, and honestly, like as far as the movie is concerned, it's only been like a month, so imagine how much money this movie would have earned within a year's time. And the fact that this surpassed Dark Knight in just like a month is just absolute madness, because obviously, the Batman Dark Knight from 2008, it's an all-time classic. um People liked how that movie was pretty much, I don't know. It was kind of like a comic book type of movie brought to life with a lot of realism and all that stuff. And that's what people liked about Batman Dark Knight, but it was a different time. And I think as far as box office revenue is concerned, I think it had a bigger budget than the Barbie movie, and it did over 1 billion in terms of box office sales, and it's still seen as today as one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, and probably one of the greatest Batman movies of all time. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people were shocked by that. But when Batman: The Dark Knight came out, society was completely different, and the world was different, and what people preferred in general was just different. Plus, that was a movie that catered more towards adults for the most part. Because if I can remember correctly, that was a rated M movie for the most part. Um, Barbie, it appeals to almost everyone, so obviously, it's obviously going to attract more viewers worldwide, and almost everybody and their mother and their grandmother knows who Barbie is. So it's not too shocking that the Barbie movie um did as much as it did in terms of box office revenue. It's shocking that it reached over 1.2 billion this fast, and honestly, I feel like this movie is probably going to go down as one of the biggest like movies or one of the most successful movies of the 2020s decade. It's one of the biggest movies of 2023, along with the Super Mario Brothers movie from April 2023. And and yeah, man, I actually have a hard time, believing that this movie, um, became this big this fast and that it drew as much box office revenue as it did. But it is what it is. Barbie has been around for decades, and it seems like nowadays she's more popular than she's ever been, and that seems like it seems like it's a trend for like a lot of like key figures, whether it be Mario, whether it be Sonic, like basically characters from like the 90s and decades before that are still very popular to this day. In fact, the fact that the Barbie movie did better than like the Wonder Woman movies or the Supergirl movie is just absolutely insane. And I mean, I really don't know what to make of that because it's something that a lot of people did not expect. But I'm pretty sure this movie is going to get a sequel like years like later down the line. I don't know if there's anything planned for a sequel to the Barbie movie or anything like that, but it definitely deserves a sequel due to how popular it is right now and how popular it's going to be probably for the next couple of years. But yeah, the Barbie movie, in terms of how much it made so far and how popular it is right now, and I have a feeling that this is just the beginning, and at some point, maybe a little bit later down the line, um, maybe more will be done with this movie. We'll probably get another film that follows this particular movie a little bit later in the decade.